Welcome to this explainer. Look, if you've spent any time at all on the internet over the last couple of years, you've absolutely seen the crazy headlines. I mean, we're talking $60 billion in sales, wild speculation, and just endless, heated debate. So today, we're unpacking exactly what an NFT actually is. And I promise you right now, this is going to be a highly structured, totally jargon-free teardown. We're going to look at what's really happening behind all that hype, the core technology powering the whole thing, and ultimately the actual future of digital ownership.
Let's rewind just a bit to 2021. You know, when someone, maybe even your cousin, sold a literal JPEG of a cartoon ape for $200,000. I know it sounds absolutely ridiculous, right? Your uncle probably called it a massive scam, your coworker probably claimed it was the undisputed future of art, and let's be real, plenty of people just dismiss the whole thing as Beanie Babies 2.0. And honestly, your skepticism is completely valid here. Those headlines made everything incredibly confusing and, frankly, super easy to dismiss.
Okay, so let's dive right into this, because this quote right here, this is the absolute foundation of our explainer today. The truth is, an NFT is not the picture of the ape. It's not the hype, and it's not the scam. At its absolute core, an NFT is simply a receipt. That's literally it. It's a receipt that lives permanently on the internet. It absolutely cannot be faked, and it definitively says, hey, this specific wallet owns this specific thing. The image itself isn't really the point. The underlying technology is just a highly secure digital receipt.
So, here's our roadmap for today. First, the hype versus reality. Second, fungible versus non-fungible. Third, how the tech works. Fourth, real-world use cases. Fifth, buying and staying safe. And finally, number 6, the future of ownership.
All right, Section 1, the hype versus reality. Let's separate that $200,000 ape from the actual technology.
Moving on to Section 2, fungible versus non-fungible. We're talking dollars, tickets, and why uniqueness actually matters.
So, let's do the $10 bill test. If you trade your $10 bill for my $10 bill, nothing changes, right? They spend exactly the same. That is what we call fungible. They are identical and completely replaceable. It's great for money, it's great for math. But now apply the concert ticket test. If you traded your front row Taylor Swift ticket for my nosebleed ticket, you'd be furious. And why? Because tickets are non-fungible. Every single one is entirely unique. It has a specific seat, a specific date, a specific barcode. Non-fungible items prove unique identity, access, or ownership.
Now, historically, digital stuff was always fungible. Think about it. If you had an MP3 or a JPEG, you could literally just right-click and save it a million times. And because the internet made those digital copies completely free, true digital ownership was basically impossible. I mean, digital artists were earning $0 from secondary sales, and gamers, they didn't actually own the swords or the skins they bought. They were really just temporarily renting them from massive game developers.
Which brings us to Section 3, how the tech works. Let's look at wallets, blockchains, and the receipt itself.
Okay, so there are 3 remarkably simple parts that make up this entire ecosystem. Step 1 is the blockchain. And look, don't let that word intimidate you. Just think of it simply as a giant public notebook that everyone shares, and it cannot be erased or altered. Step 2 is the wallet. This is basically your digital pocket, or your account, securely controlled by your private password. And step 3 is the token itself. When people talk about an NFT, it is literally just a single line of text in that public notebook stating that your specific wallet owns a specific token. It is literally just a record.
But, well, this naturally leads to the burning question everyone has, and honestly, it's a really great one. If the NFT is just a line of text in the digital notebook, where is the actual picture stored? Like, where does that $1 million artwork actually live?
So the crucial point is right here. 99% of the time, the image itself is not on the blockchain, because storing massive, high-resolution images directly on a blockchain is incredibly expensive. So here's how it actually works under the hood. The token lives permanently on the blockchain as that unchangeable record. The metadata is just a simple text file that points to a web link, and the image itself, that's usually stored on a normal website or a decentralized network like IPFS. When you buy an NFT, you are buying the definitive, undeniable record of ownership. Essentially, you're buying the official registry entry in the Louvre, not necessarily the physical Mona Lisa print itself.
And this brilliantly illustrates the power of what we call a smart contract. A smart contract is really just code running on the blockchain that acts exactly like a digital vending machine. Once it's deployed, no one can change its rules. It operates entirely automatically. It just effortlessly enforces things like the total supply of an item, its price, and, crucially, creator royalties. This means every single time a digital artwork is resold, that vending machine automatically catches the transaction and pays out, say, a 5% royalty directly back to the original artist. Forever. It's pretty amazing.
Of course, writing a new record into that massive public notebook isn't totally free, and that brings us to gas fees. Just think of a gas fee as the postage stamp cost that you pay to the network computers to validate and write your new transaction. During the peak of the hype, writing on the Ethereum network was kind of like driving in a highly congested city during rush hour. I mean, gas fees could hit $50 or even $200. But today, on cheaper networks like Polygon or Base, it's much more like driving on a wide-open highway, where that exact same postage stamp costs just 1 single cent.
All right, Section 4, Real-World Use Cases. Let's look at art, games, tickets, and way beyond.
Because this receipt technology is already fixing massive flaws across multiple industries. Just look at gaming. In our current Web 2 model, you're essentially just renting a $60 skin. If your account gets banned, you lose it. But in Web 3, you actually own that digital sword as an NFT, and you can freely sell it whenever you decide to quit the game. Or look at ticketing. We are finally moving away from those fake PDF tickets and those massive, annoying middleman fees. Instead, smart contract code limits resale prices to stop scalping, and it eliminates fakes entirely. Even in real estate, where traditional closings take 30 days and carry massive 6% fees, we are actually seeing NFT housing deeds securely transferred wallet to wallet in just 10 minutes. 10 minutes! However, to fully grasp this space, we do have to objectively look at the reality of the risks here. Because, well, where there is money, there are inevitably scams. And there are 3 major ones that you need to know about. First is the rug pull. This is when a team mints a project, hypes it to the moon, takes all the buyer's money, and then just completely deletes their accounts and vanishes. Poof. Second is wash trading. This is essentially selling an NFT to your own alternate wallet for $1 million just to artificially fake its value on the charts. And finally, the utility lie, which is when a project promises this incredible metaverse game or massive real-world perks that just simply never ship.
Moving to Section 5, Buying and Staying Safe. This is your safe beginner's walkthrough.
Listen, if you take absolutely nothing else away from this entire explainer, please remember this ultimate rule. When you create a digital wallet, you are given a 12-word seed phrase. You must never, ever share your 12-word seed phrase. Honestly, think of it as the absolute master password to your entire bank account. Legitimate support staff will never, ever ask you for it, and no legitimate website actually needs you to type it in. If you share it, your money is completely gone, no exceptions.
Okay, let's quickly rattle off the remaining rules to keep your digital wallet perfectly safe. First, if you want to experiment, start small on a cheap network like Polygon so you aren't paying crazy high gas fees. Always, always triple check your web URLs. Make sure you're on OpenSea.io, not some phishing site like OpenSea.co. Get into the habit of using a site called revoke.cash to regularly remove old network approvals you just don't need anymore. Turn off your Discord direct messages to avoid scammers posing as project admins. And finally, if you ever hold items worth over $1,000, do yourself a favor and buy a hardware cold wallet to keep your assets safely offline. And finally, Section 6, the future of ownership. Looking beyond the JPEGs. Just look at today's digital landscape for a second. It is incredibly clunky. We manage 20 different logins, we rely on easily faked PDF diplomas, and we constantly lose money to massive intermediary fees. But look ahead at the 2030 internet. Your digital wallet essentially becomes your secure, universal passport. It seamlessly and securely holds unfakeable proof of attendance badges from events, it holds verified on-chain degrees from your university, and verifiable credentials that act as an automated, completely accurate resume. It removes the middlemen completely, putting control directly back into the hands of the actual users and creators. And really, here is the core takeaway. In the future, you probably won't even say the word NFT anymore. That polarizing acronym is just going to completely fade away. You'll just own your digital things, and the whole process will be as boring, normal, and everyday as sending an email is right now. The wild hype will absolutely disappear, but true digital property rights, those are going to remain permanently.
So, I want to end this explainer by leaving you with a bit of a provocative question to chew on. When the internet finally shifts from a place where you just rent temporary access to a place where you can truly actually own your digital assets and data, what is the very first digital item you want the permanent, unfakeable receipt for? Thank you so much for joining me today. Keep learning, stay curious, and Please never share your seed phrase.